Hi everyone, I'd like to ask you to please like and subscribe to get more content. Today we're going to be working on how to solve systems of linear equations. There are three ways to do these. The first way is called substitution. The second way is elimination. And the third way is graphing. Okay. Each of these go into varying difficulties and the amount of time they take. The first one is normally the quickest, second one is actually the hardest one, and the third one is intermediate. So I'm going to go through each one individually and show you how they work. So let's start the first one, substitution. Let me scroll down a little bit. Okay, so substitution. What this actually means is I'm going to replace one of the variables with its given value. Okay, so what that looks like, say I have y equals 5 and 2x plus 3y equals, say, 20. Say 20. No, let's make it 25. Okay. So, all this says is I'm going to replace y with a 5. So now it's 2x plus 3 times 5 equals 25. Okay. So 3 times 5 is 15, so 3x plus 15 equals 25. I now have to get the 2x right here all by itself. This is solving a multi-step equation. I do have a video on this. If you want further help with it, please go check out that video. I'll link it somewhere on this page. Okay, so 2x plus 15 minus 15 equals 25 minus 15. Okay, so 15 minus 15, well, that's just 0. And 25 minus 15 is 10. Okay. Now, again, I have to get the x all by itself. It's multiplied by a 2. So I have to do the opposite, which means I have to divide by 2. So that's 2 divided by 2, well, that's 1. And 10 divided by 2, well, that's 5. Okay. So we have an x, we have a y. The solutions for linear equations are always a point. So that's going to be x comma y. So my x in this case is 5. So it's 5. Comma. My y in this case is also 5. So there is our solution in the first way of doing it. Again, if you want more help on solving equations for x, please check out my other video. It'll help you more with that. Alright, so the second way is called elimination. Elimination, which just like it says in the word, I'm going to physically remove one variable entirely. Remove one variable from the set, from the system. This is going to be done through addition or subtraction. Through addition or subtraction. Okay. So again, I need 2. Let's just make 2 up real quick. Let's say 2x plus 5y equals 20. And the other one is, let's do 5x plus 5y equals, say, 60. Okay, just making some numbers up. Again, we can't get a fraction as well. That's okay. You know, most people don't like fractions. They do occur. So there's something we need to get used to. All right, to get one of these variables to go away, I need them to have the exact same number. All right, so let's look at each one. Let's look at the x's first. I have a 2 and a 5. These numbers are not the same. They're not even close. So we're not going to work on those. At the y's, well, I have a 5 and I have a 5. Okay, these are exactly the same number. They're both positive. So if I subtract the entire bottom from the top, I will then remove the y's. That variable will be gone. Alright, so we have 2 minus 5, that's negative 3x 5 minus 5 is 0, so our y is technically gone. And 20 minus 30, well, that's negative 40. Okay. So now I have negative 3x equals negative 40. Just like before, we divide both sides by 3. And again, if you want more help on how to solve these kinds of equations with two variables, I do have another video on that. Please go check that out. All right, so we have x equals negative 40 over negative 3. Okay, both of these are negative. So a negative divided by a negative is a positive. They do cancel out, so this is just 40 over 3. Okay. So now, that is the first step. Like I said, each of these get slightly harder. So, our first step is to remove one variable entirely. Our second step is to go back to substitution. We now have an x. I'm going to plug back into one of these to get my y. I'll work with one with smaller numbers, just because it's going to be a little easier. So it's 2 times 40 over 3 plus 5y equals 20. Okay. So 40 times 2 is 80. 80 divided by 3 plus 5y equals 20. Alright, to get the 5y and this one by itself, I subtract this entire number. So it is then going to be 5y equals 20 minus 80 over 3. Okay, here we get into some fractions. Again, fractions will happen. It's okay. Don't freak out. Just try to go with it. In order to do this subtraction, this 20 has to be over 3. So all I do is I multiply it by 3 and then we're good. 5y equals, well, that's 60 over 3, because 60 divided by 3 is 20, minus 80 over 3. Okay. So that's 5y equals, well, 60 minus 80, well, that's negative 20, still over 3. Okay. And then I have to divide by that 5. So it's y equals negative 20 over 3 times 1 over 5, which is going to be equal to negative 20 over 15. Now this can reduce. They're both divisible by 5. So that's going to be negative 4 over 3. Okay. So if we have an x, we now have a y. So we can put our point together. Again, it's x comma y. There we go. So that is, let's see, x is 40 over 3. Now that's working. And then negative 4 over 3. Okay. Okay, again, that is our solution. Yes, fractions are allowed. I know most people don't like them, but they do occur. They're something that you should get used to seeing. Especially as you go higher up in math, fractions become more prevalent. Okay, the last one, graphing, is actually the easier of the 3. All this is we graph all equations on the same grid, and the solution is where all of the lines meet or cross. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick sketch. I'm just going to write down like function line 1 and line 2. Okay, so I'm going to sketch these out real quick just to show you what this means. Change that to black. Okay, so we have our grid. I'll label x and y real quick. So this is our x. That's our y. Whenever you make these by hand, you always want to label so you know which way to hold the piece of paper. And then we have our 2 lines. Say that's line 1. And this one is going to be line 2. Oh, let me make that a little straighter. I don't like the way that line looks. That's better. Okay. And just like this says, right where they meet, let's circle this. This space right here, that's our solution. That is right where our answer is. Okay. Again, if you want more help on how to solve equations with an x and a y, please check out the other video. And I do also have a video to show you how to graph by hand. You can graph on a graphing calculator or on a online graph. They have those. For example, just type in and Google online graphing calculator and one will pop up. They're very, very user friendly. But if you want, leave me a comment below and I can do a review of those if you'd like. Again, please like and subscribe, and I hope to see you again soon.